All right, we are live. It's the Spinning
Oh,
Back
wait.
Fist MMA show. It's Robbie Fox, Big Ev, and Jack Mac. Are we good? We got audio? Do you think we got audio?
Yeah, just forgot to put us on Twitter.
That's right. We are here to talk UFC. It's finally back this weekend. They took like a 1 month break. Was it even a month? It felt like a year.
It was pretty much a month.
Yeah, that UFC, I get it. They got a lot of employees, send them home for the holidays and everything. But as a fight fan, I was the Dave Chappelle meme. Y'all got any more of them cards? We are presented by New Amsterdam Vodka today. New Amsterdam Vodka is born from an uncompromising passion for great vodka. You know, they got a bunch of different products as well. The Pink Whitney is one of their products here at Barstool.
I mean, iconic product.
Iconic.
Like one of the greatest products, I think, in Barstool history. Obviously, we did it with New Amsterdam, but I mean.
And I see it all the time. Whenever you go into a bar, a liquor store, whatever, they got New Amsterdam. And it's like, oh, shit, that's like, you take a little ownership in it because they're such friends with Barstool.
And they do a bunch of stuff with like everybody. New Amsterdam continues to just kill the game. Pink Whitney, I think, is one of the most iconic drinks, especially in terms of college drinks, like of our generation. Like when I was in college, it was like it first came out, it was huge.
Yeah.
My sister loves it, like, and she's not like a Spittin' Chicklets fan.
Yeah. And I saw it. My brother actually saw it in Deadwood, South Dakota, which is like this. They made a movie or a show called Deadwood. It's my brother's favorite show. He said, why don't I visit the real place? He went expecting like this old Western saloon town. He walks in, they got Pink Whitney ads everywhere. He was like, all right, I feel like I'm back, home. But that's why New Amsterdam Vodka is the official vodka of Barstool Sports. Find your wins with New Amsterdam Vodka. That can mean anything in life. Find your wins on UFC card this weekend. If you're a UFC fighter, maybe you find your winning celebration with New Amsterdam.
Yeah, NAV.
NAV, the best. But we got fights to talk about. Obviously, fights are back this weekend, and fights were announced for UFC 300, even fights for UFC 299. Is that the one Rose is on?
No, that's a fight night.
Oh, that is a fight
Rose
night.
on a fight night.
Are they like going to be main or co-main on that?
I would think so. I would think Rose is going to be at least a co-main.
Rose, Amanda Hebos announced. Dustin Poirier versus BSD. We got Logan DeWolf in the chat, pointed that out. He says, I still can't believe.
Tottenham, we up. Tottenham is we up.
Oh, no, I'm not a Tottenham guy.
Yeah, you're an Arsenal, guy. But we've gotten a bunch of huge transfers. Looking good, especially after an awful end to the last few eras of Tottenham. But we're looking good. This isn't a soccer show, though.
Let's start here. Logan says, I still can't believe Dustin agreed to fight BSD. Unreal fight. I agree. Amazing fight. We're all excited for it.
I agreed that I can't believe Dustin agreed to fight him as well.
I was going to agree on that.
I'm pretty sure I went on record saying no chance he would do that.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, he had basically said that he wasn't going to do that.
Maybe he heard you.
Money, or you was
he's fighting literally number 12.
Yeah.
Or 11 or 12. But this is a unique number 11 or 12.
It's an 11 or 12 that people think should be or could be a top 5.
I think a lot of people. I mean, he's literally now the betting favorite.
Yeah.
The line,
wait, over Poirier?
Yep.
The line flipped immediately.
Whoa.
The second the line opened, it opened Poirier like some people got like plus 140 on BSD, so it must have been like 160.
I got plus 110. I got 2 units down on plus 110.
So Poirier opened essentially, you were thinking about 165-ish.
Yep.
That's crazy.
And now he sits at now BSD's minus 150.
I understand the hype around BSD, but I'm surprised by that. Like I like Poirier in that fight still.
I kind of like BSD.
Yeah.
Really?
I think BSD is that good. Like I think
he's gonna like knock Poirier out.
I think he chokes him out. That's what I think. That's if I had an official prediction right this second, I would say BSD submission. Because what I think BSD can, he's shown to be super durable. I think he can stand in the pocket with him. And he knows what he's gonna get out of Poirier, which is obviously a great striking. And Poirier is good jiu-jitsu too. I think BSD, and I think what you see with BSD too is like just how much better he gets every fight. He's only been doing MMA for like so many years. He's only like 27.
Yeah, that is crazy.
He was special forces for France.
That's part of the reason I feel like I
and then just went to MMA
so much
and is a killer.
I do feel like the experience there is like such a drastic difference that my brain says lean Poirier, but I understand if you could get BSD at like plus money in that fight, take him.
No, that's what Lee did. Logan shot, he got plus 140, which is insane.
Yeah,
like that's insane closing line value.
And then something else that was brought up in the chat by Mr. Sodomizer. You guys got some crazy usernames. Charles not even being a co-main for 300 is probably a sign that they're cooking something wild.
Do we know he's not a co-main?
I guess we don't know that for sure.
Yeah, we don't know it for sure, but
it feels like they probably would have announced it as a co-main if it was.
I would think there's gonna. I mean, if it's not a McGregor card, I'd be shocked if there weren't going to be at least 2 title fights.
Agreed. Probably if Poatan is for real about this, him and Leon.
That's what I think. I think it's going to be like a Poatan's a title fight and then the welterweight title.
Yeah. And as far as that potential Poatan fight, who are we thinking there?
It's tough because if Jamal Hill's ready, that's the fight. That's
the fight if he's ready. If he's not, though, who do you think he's more likely? Which fight is more likely to happen? Ferreira versus Izzy at 205 or versus Aspinal at heavyweight?
See, I kind of think both are unlikely.
I do too.
I'd probably say Izzy, to be honest. But maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm totally wrong.
I think you're right.
Because I've heard him say, too, about the Aspinal thing, that he basically said if he was going to go to heavyweight, he wanted to do it like correctly.
Yeah.
Which would take more time than he's had.
And Aspinal even said, like, he wants to fight guys at 205 or whatever. So they might have had some behind-the-scenes correspondence about that.
Aspinal wants to fight guys at 205?
No. Aspinal said that about Poatan. Like, he wants to fight guys at 205, defend his title, and I retire.
I don't think Aspinal could get to 205.
No, that's why when you said it, I was like, huh?
Like, yeah, he should go down to middleweight while he's at it.
No chance. That'd be huge.
The Izzy thing, though, I remember Izzy was saying for a long time, like, I beat you once, I don't have to beat you again. He did have, like, an interesting comment at some point, like, oh, but now you got me back or whatever. And then people have been posting pictures of him where he's been lifted weights and he looks fucking huge.
If that's the fight, that'd be crazy. I mean, I said in the chat last night, which this is so circumstantial because the first fight hasn't happened yet. But if DDP could win like flawlessly somehow, I think that would be like their dream if they could somehow book like the African title, the DDP Adesanya.
Yeah,
what a role reversal with DDP holding the belt for UFC 300,
and they could kind of pressure DDP and say, hey, you didn't take this fight when we offered it to you first. You got to take it now.
But also the thing with that is, too, he'd have pay-per-view points on a fucking massive card.
He would make so much.
Like, that's where I think they could get him to be, like, turn around fast.
Yeah.
And he would be turning down millions of dollars.
We'll get to, Basil, we'll get to the fight night card in just a little bit.
Yeah.
There's some good
there are some good fights.
Yeah, some very good fights.
Question: where does Justin Gaethje go?
I don't know. Someone just said in the chat.
Islam. Do you see Islam's tweet?
Yes, today.
He said like June 8th pay-per-view, meet Gaethje. And then later in the year, like fight the winner of Armin.
He said MSG.
MSG, that's right. A winner of Armin Charles.
But Islam didn't tweet that.
Probably not.
Ali tweeted that.
Ali tweeted that.
You're probably right. Yeah. But I do think the Gaethje, well, obviously it makes sense because Gaethje's his guy too. Yeah. But I could see that happening.
That's enough time.
That makes sense.
Removed from Ramadan too for Islam.
That's what I'm saying. Like
because Ramadan ends April 10th, and then he'd have enough time to. And it's not like he's not training during Ramadan. It's just not like you can do a training camp.
By the way, someone in the chat says, when is the announcement? Because our title here is like UFC 300 announcements, but I put a question mark because we're waiting on Dana to make the announcement. We're not breaking any fights on
that. Would be sick as fuck.
It'd be amazing if we were breaking fights. But
we're talking new fights. There's going to be more new fights tonight.
That's on me for the title. Like
me too. I put it in the thumbnail and everything. A fight kind of moving off UFC for a second that got announced, kind of rumored, announced, reported by Happy Punch is Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz 2.
Happy Punch is a reliable source.
They are. And they said it's happening in the boxing ring.
Jake Paul talked about it too, that he seemed, because even I think it was when Masvidal tweeted unretired.
Jake was like,
Jake
go
responded,
box
he was
Nate.
like, yeah, go box Nate, blah, blah, blah.
Him trying to kind of spoil the announcement. It's interesting. We talked about it on the last show. Like, do you think the UFC would ever rematch that for UFC 300 or something? It would be a decent, like, Legends fight, but as you brought up, Ev, it wasn't particularly close 5 years ago when it happened, and there's no reason to believe it's going to be closer now. Putting it in the boxing ring, for me, just makes it much less interesting. Yeah, I probably would still watch it. I also think, I think Masvidal would smoke him, to be honest. I think he would too. And I'll buy it out of respect for those two guys. Yes. I want to make sure they get the bag. If this is the way that they're making a lot of money, is doing it in boxing rather than MMA, God bless him. But just from like a fan standpoint, like, how can you even get excited for it? No, I mean, because if I'd rather just see them fight MMA if that was the case. Who wouldn't? If they're gonna fight MMA, but you can even generalize that. I would always rather two MMA fighters fight MMA than box each other.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, I would agree.
So I don't know how to feel about that. I do believe it's real based on Happy Punch, the way they put it out. They said the UFC also signed off on it. I'm interested to know how that conversation went.
Me too, because I would think Dana just like maybe he did it out of respect for those two guys, because those two guys have helped the company a lot.
Totally.
But he's never really been a guy that would be like, no, like, I mean, in his defense too, they signed contracts, and like it's like this is how it works.
Well, Diaz is not.
Diaz not.
Diaz, sorry.
Masvidal, yes.
Masvidal,
they would still need to give him the green light.
But my thing is like, oh, Dana looking that he would be fighting Diaz, an ex-UFC fighter that left not on bad terms, but obviously like maybe, I mean, people have always rumored. I mean, he's being rumored even for UFC 300.
Yeah.
So I mean, it'll be interesting to see if that happens. I'm with you.
I think he'll fight in the UFC again.
I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? But it doesn't get me like I'm not gonna be hyped up for it. I'll definitely be like, oh, sick, nice fight, not tonight. But I would obviously rather it in a cage. But I get why
it excites me more than like Jake Paul versus his next unnamed opponent.
Yeah, I mean the other guy, I think no one gave a fuck about that last fight.
No one gave a fuck.
And he hadn't fought in like 4 years. He knocked him out in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, I will say, for all the shit I give Jake Paul, I do like what he's doing on his next card where he's Amanda Serrano's co-main event. That feels like the sort of thing where you are lifting up the sport and lifting up the people you should be lifting up in the sport.
Yeah, I mean, she's a real, like, one of the best women's boxers of all time. He's trying to, I mean, he's done a lot of good for her in general.
And the kid from Euphoria is on the card too. The kid that used to work with Fez in Euphoria, the little kid.
Oh,
he's making his boxing debut.
Yes, okay. Fez he's his little brother in Euphoria. No shit.
When is Dana announcing?
He's got no opponent yet either.
Dana's announcing fights tonight.
According to Dana, tonight. Yeah.
Apparently, they're saying in the chat, Brian Battle versus Ange Lewis got announced for like March 16th.
Oh, okay.
I'm a big Brian Battle guy.
It's a violent
I feel like
fight.
that's not a big step up for.
That's
Battle.
what I was just gonna say. I thought Battle would get somebody like more up the ladder.
Yeah, like top 20, top 25.
That's what I was thinking. He's at a very good run. He's only lost one fight. I mean, and it was to Renat, who's a stud.
Where's March 16th?
I think that might be an Apex one.
It does appear to be.
Mics are cutting out very briefly.
It says to be determined venue. So I don't know. Probably.
Yeah, so unless they maybe they end up putting.
How's the audio, guys?
Fight night.
Maybe it was just
audio all right. Hopefully,
only one person said. Hopefully, it's more good.
Do you want to get into this weekend's card?
I'm trying to think of anything else.
Yeah, anything else that happened over break?
I'm thinking just other fighting.
I mean, Ian Gary and Sean Strickland, they kind of got into it even more because Ian Gary went on the MMA hour.
Yeah,
that was an interesting clip.
Tough. I didn't realize. I'm glad someone picked up on that.
I will say, I mean, it's kind of funny, but not even funny. Funny is the wrong word, but Sean Strickland's kind of the face of like men's mental health right now, because I saw a video with 200,000 likes on like a mental health page and saying this is one of the most inspiring conversations between two men ever.
His Theo talk?
Him and Theo. And it was like a page that was not somewhere you would expect to see Sean Strickland, because my friend shared it on her story. Doesn't know who Sean Strickland is. She's like big into mental health and whatnot. And I was like, oh, I mean, that's pretty cool. Like, I mean,
Patty the Batty, he came out and made that a thing. And then
Patty
Sean Strickland, Patty was so genuine. That's like part of his personality too. Sean Strickland, you wouldn't necessarily expect it from, but
and the Sean Strickland
he's carrying a torch.
And Theo handled it very well too, where he was just like, oh, I can just sit here. I mean,
Theo's so funny.
He's so
like just the way words come out of his mouth is just. Like even he was trying to like also say a story about his childhood, and I love how he just started with like, like animals like pee in places, or like trying to explain that, and then it was all like to explain that at night, because he knew that as a kid he was so scared at night, he didn't have like a dad in his life or anything, so he would literally piss around his bed, and he would think that was like almost like a force field of like basically is like how animals mark their territory, they don't go there. That was his explanation. That he literally would piss around like the edge of his entire bed, thinking that no one would like attack him, and that like whatever monsters or whatever
as a kid,
however he like thought about it.
That's wild,
crazy.
So $299. Like, how was you? I did a TikTok on it. I know Abs talked about it a lot. How is it gonna be?
I tweeted it. Yeah, I tweeted it last night. How do you do better than that?
I think it's one of the best top to bottom cards they've ever put together.
Ever.
The 4 or 5 fights on the prelims could legitimately be a pay-per-view main card.
Yeah.
Jan is literally like an other prelim.
I think the prelims. I know it's like Pedro Munoz, Kyler Phillips. We're not talking like early. We're talking like the prelims. The early prelims like Michelle Prada and Oleg Jessic. Like that's that's insane. That's a banger.
The list of names, even like Kevin Holland, and Michael Venom Page, I'm forgetting about on this card.
RDA Gamrot, prelim. Pedro Munoz, Kyler Phillips, prelim. Macy Barber, Caitlin Chikagian, prelim. I think I saw something. They might make it a 6-fight main card. It's that good.
Ooh, okay.
They should,
because they were. I think they were in a spot where pretty much like Song Yadong, Peter Yan would literally be a fucking prelim.
Honestly, make it a 6-fight main card. Give the people their money's worth.
That could be like a. I mean, in another dimension where Peter Yan's holding the belt, that could be like a pay-per-view headliner.
And then the Cuban heavyweight, who's a big-time prospect.
Right. That's the first fight of the night. He's like the opener.
And I love that he's debuting in Miami. Obviously, Cuban population in Miami is huge. And that would be
I wonder if Dave will go to that card. Should hit Dave up and let him know what's happening. He might be interested.
Yeah,
I doubt it.
You think? Sean O'Malley? I feel like that could get him out of the house.
I don't think he gives a fuck.
Yeah.
The only reason I remember because I was sitting in the seats where I watched, they wanted to fucking leave like the Ferreira Izzy. Like they literally were like wanted to leave so badly.
Yeah. True.
And the only reason they stayed was because Dana was like, oh, they literally caught them leaving. And they realized
you ain't leaving, right?
Like they literally had like the best seats in the entire fucking garden.
Yeah.
And they're about to leave early because they were just like had been there since Molly's fight.
Oh, someone said we didn't even mention Woodley last week.
I said that in the chat.
Woodley. Why'd they say Darren Woodley?
The man was eating box.
Yeah.
That was that.
Yeah, it's tough.
Did you see the clip of Anik talking about it?
No.
So funny.
Oh, what did he say about it?
He's like, of course, like already. He's like, obviously, like we're always respected, like the champion. He was like he just was like basically was like extra respect. Like, that's not exactly how he said it, but he pretty much is like giving him. He just said something about how they get like extra respect for it. It was so funny.
That's funny.
He was like, a man goes to work.
All right, let's get into.
Real quick too. Just more the Aspinal John Jones thing is like continuing.
Oh, Jones has been tweeting back. Yeah,
Aspinal back. I think we were talking about it before. Just at the desk. I think we both agree. Like, Aspinal is handling this. I think perfectly.
Yeah, he's making it like the Jones Aspinal narrative is.
Even though I don't think Jones will take the bait, he's like making it more where the fans like us are clamoring more for it. Like he's making the noise about it louder and louder.
He needs to lean on like. It's the hardcore fans that like really care about this and get like the hardcore fans to almost like weaponize an army.
That's exactly
like
the hardcore fans like are even like not to disrespect Stipe, but they're almost like there's memes that are out there and whatnot saying like this guy's gonna fight, like, oh really? And it's almost, and I mean that's not disrespectful to Stipe as much as I think it's more so Aspinal John Jones I think would be one of the biggest fights in the history of the organization.
I think it'd be huge. Like if they could build it the right way.
I really think you could sell that in a way. I could sell everybody.
This is the future of the sport.
It as like, how could I sell everybody at Barstool to come like watch it?
Yeah,
I think you could sell that in a heartbeat. John Jones,
the GOAT versus the future.
John Jones against Gon, who a lot of people didn't know Gon was unbelievable.
Yeah,
Aspinall, the Brit, that's like just like a fucking
very likable. Like people love him.
Just. I think it would be the biggest fight in the history. Not the biggest, but one of the biggest.
I said I think if Aspinall could fight one more time before Jones does, if he could either fight Cyril Gane or the winner of Almeida Blades and finish them in the first round, I think that would really put a lot of pressure. It's tough.
Call out Jones on the mic.
How much? Yeah, of course, and then like call out John's like adamantly, like what's up.
And Aspinall obviously is a big time respect guy, but almost do it in a way that's like really calling him
let's
out.
make it happen. Yeah.
Not you're the GOAT. No, be like, no.
I respect you and I want to make it happen.
You are legitimately ducking me.
Yeah.
Like you are retiring because you don't want to end your career on a fucking loss.
Yes.
Because I'm the biggest, baddest heavyweight that's ever lived.
This is the script. Just say this and boom.
Like,
that's the fight.
You don't want the smoke. It's that simple.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
All right, let's get into this card. Do you want to start at the prelims? I only got 15 minutes.
How about we
do you want to do the main card and then
if you have to leave,
prelim picks or something?
Yeah, or if you have to leave,
true. You guys can stay on.
We could. Let's start at the top though.
Yeah. Start at the top of the card. You mean?
Yeah. No, I meant like we could start with Ankalaev.
All right, yeah, let's start with that. Ankalaev versus Walker is the main event here. Johnny Walker, of course, training out of Ireland. He also had some controversy recently. It was weird. Nothing ever came of that. But how do we feel about it? This is the rematch.
I mean, Ankalaev should take care of business. Obviously, saying that as a minus 550 guy. I think he's maybe even down to minus 500, minus 450 now.
Yeah, I realized it was that.
But like he's the better fighter here. Walker is just he's really been better, you know.
Oh yeah,
he's really transformed.
A little more technical.
A little more technical. You know, I wish Johnny Walker was at like a little bit of a better gym. No disrespect to the Irish MMA scene.
Disrespect taken.
But you know, I think Walker, like if he was even in like America or whatnot, but I know he loves Ireland. Ankalaev, I mean, I just think he finds a finish. I kind of think he may even find he's never really subbed anybody, and Johnny Walker is a black belt, but I wouldn't be shocked if he could find a sub. What are you thinking?
The only thing I will say about the gym thing, though, since he's went there, he has been on a hell of a run.
Yeah.
Or was he there? Was he already at SPG for the Jamal Hill fight? He might have been.
Oh, and he was.
Actually, no, he was. But he has. I mean, basically since
he's
that
improved
fight,
though. Like
since
there's
that
clear
fight,
improvements.
He's beaten Cutelaba.
Mm-hmm.
He beat Paul Craig,
Anthony Smith.
He
was trying to take money from his family.
That's right. I think that's the three.
Those are the three. Yeah,
that's a nice little run there.
And I mean, he looked fine.
It was so early. He definitely was. I think Ankalaev was like winning, but it was super early.
So Ankalaev, why I don't mind like taking a stab at the sub is because I think the line's a little bit inflated. I wouldn't feel safe betting Ankalaev at this number, but he did take Walker down early in that fight. Maybe he could find a sub. I know he's not. He's more someone that would. I mean, we've seen him go to boring decisions. We've seen him just. But I also think Ankalaev kind of knows he has to like kind of get some hype back around him, and a finish would be huge. And maybe he finds a sub, a club and sub kind of thing. So I don't hate it. I haven't seen the props released yet.
So I just looked on one book. It's 700. I think it's a pretty good number actually
for a sub, right?
Considering he's minus 550.
Yeah,
and now Johnny is a black belt.
On this book, he's minus 225 by knockout plus 700 by sub.
Well, that's the thing.
I think that's a good number.
Like Jack said, if he could club and sub him.
Because I wouldn't even lay minus 225 for him to knock him out.
Me either. I would not.
He's not been like a big finisher.
He's a decision merchant too.
He's not a huge finisher. Not saying he can't, but he just hasn't historically. He's not like he has knockout power, and Johnny Walker definitely has shown his chin is very vulnerable.
Yeah.
I still don't even. I almost think like a part of me just because for me it's like I like the sub prop. I mean. There's a little part of me that almost wants to take it, like would want to take maybe Johnny at 410, but I just don't feel like super confident in it. Like it would be more just like wanting some action and like just basically saying fuck it, like give me the huge dog. He's athletic and has power, and
I don't hate taking Johnny at this price. I think Ankalaev like gives massive fraud vibes because it's just not. Fraud's the wrong word. It's just like he should be so much better.
It feels like there's something missing.
Yeah. So I mean, +4, and if you get 4-1, I mean, it's similar to like me taking sub 7-1. It's like I mean, it's a little stab, especially on the main event.
Then in the co-main, you've got a flyweight bout: Mateus Nicolau versus Manel Kopp. Great fight. Should be a good fight. What are the odds on this one?
Kopp's minus 270, which I was a little surprised. I thought it was wide a little bit.
Yeah, that seems a little wide to me.
I think he's.
I think he's going to win the fight, but I think this is going to be a close fight.
I mean, his fight with Felipe dos Santos, who was literally making his debut, was like a war.
Yeah,
which but also it's funny because he's fighting soon. I think not on this card, but
dos Santos is.
Yeah, he's back. It almost makes me think like, am I almost undervaluing him because of that?
Because of the war, yeah.
And Nicolau's coming off getting knocked out by Royval.
I think if Royval's knocking you out, not to take anything away, I think Kopp has more power than Royval.
Yeah, no, that's
And I think Nicolau. Now Manel starts slow, so I'm thinking maybe we could get him round 2, round 3 at a decent number. What?
Logan said Oz Kopp gets a microphone after the fight.
Last time he dropped
DC, yeah, DC yanked that from him. Yeah,
second half of the night. It was wild.
Yeah, he went hard on it. And Ev, you are right. Dos Santos is fighting on the Mexico City card actually against Victor Altamirano.
That's right.
I think Kopp's safe. Not safe's the wrong word, but I think he's a good parlay piece. I think he finds a finish in round 2. He starts slow. Nicolau just like has questionable chin. So and didn't they already fight?
Did they?
Is this a rematch?
Or was it?
Yeah, it was a split decision in 2021.
For who?
Nicolau won. But Kopp almost finished him, if I remember correctly. He
looking at people's thoughts on the first fight. Nicolau clearly won the first. Kopp clearly won the second. Third was a toss-up. People have a hard-on for Kopp for advancing fast. There's just random comments from people. Interesting.
So they did fight in 2021, yeah. And that started a Nicolau win streak, or was in the middle of his win streak.
22 out of 22 media members gave that fight to Kopp.
Yeah, that was it was a robbery.
Yeah.
But
interesting.
And I think Kopp knows, hey, if I take care of business here, I'm in a really good spot. And and then taking care of business for him would be a knockout. He throws probably the biggest bombs in his weight class.
Manel Kopp, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe now that Figgy's up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's up there with Figgy. Like he
honestly
really throws. He throws hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kai throws pretty hard too.
Kai, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no, he's definitely one of them for sure. If not
people
the
with
hardest
this
hitter.
UFC 300 announcement title. Everyone's like joining. Where's the fight announcements? We're not announcing them. I'm sorry. Thank you for being here.
Imagine if Dana just was like, you guys announce.
Yeah, you guys take it today.
He texts you right
now. The next fight, Jim Miller versus Gabriel Benitez. Jim Miller's final fight before UFC 300, where he's confirmed to have a spot on that card. He also says that's not going to be his retirement. He's like, I'm going to keep fighting after that, which honestly makes sense.
He's been on a tear.
Yeah.
It's insane. He's getting all these knockouts now in his old age.
Yeah.
The last guy they threw to him, I feel bad, Jesse Butler.
Yeah.
He was like last minute debut, went in there just fucking highlight reel knockout.
And that was like a minute, maybe?
Like 50,
30 seconds?
20 seconds.
Yeah.
And he was literally like, I mean, he was like, we had one of those bad ones where his legs
got caught, leg and
he's literally he's like half on the cage, like lean. Oh my God, it was vicious.
I do like Jim Miller in this fight. Shout out New Jersey, but it's a close fight. It's close odds. I think he's just a slight favorite.
He is. He minus 130. I'm seeing. This is a tough one for me.
Yeah, I
have a hard time with this one.
I think it would just be a
rightfully so. Like the kind of the line it is.
Yeah. I think it'll be a good fight though, a Jim Miller style.
I probably lean Miller, but
he's
like Benitez winning wouldn't like shock me at all.
Yeah.
I think Jim Miller.
I'll picking Miller for the sake of
even on striking. I think Miller has a little bit better durability, so I think the line's fair. I'm not going to bet it. I mean Miller was underdog price a few weeks ago. Would have been a great bet. Now I'm just gonna. It's always fun to watch them fight.
Joseph in the chat has a question. He says, "Who you guys got? Qatar versus Cater versus Aljo." I lean Aljo there.
Really tough.
It's tough, and Aljo talking about training for the fight or. More so not training
back, right?
Yeah,
from the ACL.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough. I mean,
I think Aljo is just so hard to deal with.
I kind of like Cater, to be honest.
Do you?
I feel like that jump is. I mean, when you think about, even though Aljo was such a huge bantamweight, that jump from 35 to 45 in terms of like the percentage of your like how much you weigh is pretty significant.
True, he's huge.
He is big. I listen like it's one of those like I wouldn't like bet the house on Cater, but I guess my feelings at this moment, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. The next fight on this weekend's card is Ricky Simone versus Mario Bautista.
This is sneaky my favorite fight on the card.
I
think that makes sense.
Ricky Simone. I bet him for 2 units at minus 165. I think he's still around that price.
I'm seeing 185. So
nice little CLV.
Line, yeah.
But I just think he's a little bit better everywhere. I think he also is just so good in his just I think he's going to push Bautista to the point of like not necessarily breaking him, but I think his cardio is amazing. I just think everywhere he's just slightly better, and that will put him. I put him around like minus 200, minus 225. So,
how do you guys feel about Blackshear?
So,
because he fought on the Sugar Aljo card when he was supposed to fight Cody, which I think for him would have been like a cakewalk grappling wise. He gets Blackshear off the twister on like whatever, like a week's notice, whatever it was, and fought Blackshear. I thought it was like a really close fight.
Thought Blackshear won.
Yeah. I remember I bet Bautista minus 200, like kind of big, and I was petrified when the decision came.
I thought that fight, especially for this bet, I think Blackshear and Simone are very similar in their styles of just like on the front foot, really grappling heavy. And also, I mean, Simone's really hittable. He kind of leaves his chin in the air, but Simone, Bautista doesn't have like knockout power.
Not really.
So now I did see Magic tweet out a photo of Bautista last night, and he was pretty much alluding to that he was on steroids, and he's like, MMA Labs is such a perfect name for a gym. Alluding to the fact that so that doesn't make me feel great, but I still like Simone. He's my first bet of the card, and I feel good backing him.
He's your first bet of the card.
Well, like I'll have other bets.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But like I already bet him like earlier in the week. So
I see what you're saying.
I also just think I really like Ricky Simone. I mean, his level of competition is so much better than Batista's too. Mm-hmm. Simone's fought killers, man.
Yeah, he's fought a lot of good guys.
Marab, Jack Shore was a good win. Yep. Who else has he fought?
He's lost like
Yan.
Yeah, he lost to
Yan.
Did he fight Peter Yan?
Song
Yadong. I was going to say he got knocked out like late. I'm pretty sure.
And then
he knocked out a Suns out. Yeah, I agree with you. I tend to agree with you. I think he wins.
The first fight of the main card is Phil Hawes, pride of Little Ferry, New Jersey, versus Bruno Ferreira.
Okay, so this is tough.
It is tough. You know, I always want to be on Phil Hawes' side, so I'm going to be on Phil Hawes' side.
But
is he a favorite here?
Bruno's a slight favorite.
Okay. So I thought my vision here is Bruno's an easy bet, but then I keep seeing so much love for Phil Hawes.
This is one of those like if he dies, he dies, or if he loses, I don't really care. I'm betting Bruno. I think Hawes has no chin.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. And Bruno hits so.
I mean, the punch I rewatched the other day. The punch that also when he's been knocked out 3 times in the last year and a half, 2 years.
It happens way too often for my liking.
The Chris Curtis fight, he was winning. It was the first round, and Chris Curtis hit him with like landed one shot.
Yeah.
And it wasn't some crazy like flush like bomb. He basically punched him in the face once.
Yeah.
Landed good in his cheek, and he was like lost his legs. Delize almost murdered him.
Yeah.
And then I mean
we saw
Alaskarov literally landed like it looked like just a little like boop, and he just was. I mean, obviously that one he landed like straight chin.
Do you think they're gonna cut him if he loses this one?
Yeah.
If he got like viciously knocked, if he loses, like
gets viciously knocked out again, maybe he should retire. Like I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
Phil Hawes could win a belt in PFL.
Maybe.
You think so?
Yeah.
A belt?
I mean, Impa just did it moving up a weight class.
Yeah, you're right.
I think Phil Hawes is a great MMA fighter with an awful chin.
He's just been knocked out badly so many times.
Because we watched the one in Newark was the Alaskarov one. It was like, and that was I had like a bunch of money on him. He was like a huge underdog, and he just landed like a straight. I think it was a left. He got like crouching, just boop, and it was like you didn't even know what happened. He just kind of like folded.
Dude, it's wild to think about like his entire narrative. The thing people would talk about with him when he came in. He's John Jones' hardest sparring partner. He's given John Jones more wars than anyone in MMA history. That is what was said about Phil Hawes when he came to the UFC.
Crazy, and he has one UFC win
against Darren Wynn, which is ironic.
The smallest,
he's like the DC of
No. Phil Hawes has a few UFC wins.
He's got a few wins.
Listen to this run. He beat Jacob Malkoun.
Yep.
And that's then also
did he knock out Malkoun actually?
Yeah. And then he
early,
and then he also beat Imavov. And then then
Bartlett just said that. I forgot about that.
Kyle Dawkins, and then Chris Curtis lost, Deron win, and then Roman Delice and Askarov loss. I just think Bruno definitely finds a connection. Bruno's last fight was against the Ruzabov, the guy who's like 6'4".
That guy's a beast.
Yeah, he's from Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan. He's a monster. He's one of those dudes who you saw his record and saw him and then saw what he did and was like, why was he not in the UFC like 3 years ago?
Yeah, because I think he was like 34. This is the first fight for Bruno Ferreira where he's fighting somebody actually kind of his size, but Phil Hawes does have a 77-inch reach, which is huge. Now, I could see Hawes just like kind of avoiding the punches and wrestling him and getting and just kind of, boring decision. But I don't know. I keep going back and forth with this fight. I'll probably end up sitting it out. If anything, just Bruno KO.
Yeah, Bruno hits hard, man.
All right, I got to get out of here, but you guys want to finish out on the prelims?
100%.
Yeah. You want me to like fix the camera so you could sit here?
No, don't worry about it.
All right. See you guys.
Peace out, Bob. Yeah, next we got heavyweight fight. Arlovsky's back.
Yep.
Andre Arlovsky, Waldo Cortez Acosta. Waldo's minus 750.
I think he just takes care of business, but I'm not betting that price.
I was gonna say the same thing. I think it's literally like if you really want the gen action, maybe you take a shot at Arlovsky. I don't even recommend that. I just think it's
round 2,
like
maybe Cortez if you somehow.
But Cortez isn't even to me. This is like a stay away totally. Cortez is not a finisher like that.
Yeah,
Arlovsky's so old.
What is?
I can see this being his retirement fight. I mean,
yeah.
How much longer is it? I know he's super high paid.
What is? Yeah, so I don't blame him. He probably gets paid he'll probably get $250 for this.
I think more. I think he makes a lot. I want to say he makes like 400. Like he was a heavyweight champ. So there's certain guys that you can only bring that salary down like so much.
Didn't he fight at like UFC like 20?
He's been around forever.
Chat, let us know about that. I'm gonna go check it. I think he fought at like some crazy UFC number.
He was there super early.
He fought,
didn't he? This man fought Fedor like early, not even like
UFC 28
outside of the UFC.
He fought a UFC 28, and he fought at Affliction.
That's what I'm saying. Because he had that crazy one where he jumped.
Yeah.
And then Fedor was that him, right? Am I mixing that up?
Yes, no, he lost. Fedor knocked him out in Affliction too.
He did this weird ass move where he like jumped in the air and Fedor just like just sniped him and just slept him.
That's amazing.
Like, almost in midair. It was crazy.
So Arlovsky's seen literally. I mean, this guy's fought everybody
forever.
He fought Bigfoot Silva. He fought Brendan Schaub. He's fought everybody. He's fought Francis Ngannou. Yeah, this guy and
he fought Aspinal. It's crazy the range of like heavyweights that he's fought
but he lost. He's a legend. So he deserves the 500K he's getting on foot. I'm
pretty sure he gets like 400,000 plus.
What's Waldo by sub?
I haven't seen. We're on the prelims now, so I don't know if
they're not out yet.
If the price are out for that yet.
Waldo by sub possibly. I don't hate.
That was I remember when obviously Aspinal a different animal, but he fought him. And he was like tackling him in the cage and threw the choke in. Arlovsky tapped so fast.
Yeah, it was just like
he just was like, "You got it." He's like, "You're good." Next, we got a really good fight. I think it's a banger.
This is an awesome fight.
Might be fight of the night. Matthew Semmelsberger, Preston Parsons. Semmelsberger minus 130.
I think I'm going down with the ship with Semi the Jedi.
I kind of think I am too. He got wrestled quite a bit his last fight, from what I remember.
Was Semmelsberger's last fight against Jeremiah Wells? Or did he fight someone else in between?
No, I think it was. I think he fought someone after that. I'm pretty sure he fought. Medic. That's right. He was winning the whole fucking fight.
And then Medic knocked him out in the third round.
Caught him in like the third round. That's right. I knew he fought someone else. He got knocked out.
And if I remember correctly, he had Medic hurt at the end of the first, and he did not.
He did. He should have. I remember because I had Semmelsberger like pretty big. I remember
Semmelsberger,
and I was so mad that he didn't like jump on him.
Semmelsberger loves hurting people. Awful finisher.
Yeah,
like it's weird.
Besides, he had some early UFC fights. He knocked guys out really fast.
Yeah.
He played football at Marist, I think, right? Is he who played at Marist? He was like a good college football player. Like a linebacker, like a safety or something like that.
I kind of like Semmelsberger here. Preston Parsons, Preston Parsons, man. You look at Preston Parsons, like this guy lost to Trevin Giles.
Yeah, I like Semmelsberger.
I just now Parsons. So Semmelsberger.
Parsons also is a 155er that I think he's fought 155 before.
Semmelsberger's takedown defense is what's concerning me here and stopping me from putting like a 2-unit bet on him. But Parsons isn't great on top, and he could get reversed. And I think Semmelsberger. This is like a fight for probably both these guys' contracts.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially.
So now maybe not Semmelsberger, but I think I recall.
This is interesting because Semmelsberger I think has been like exciting enough that they would keep him around. Like, but at the same time, I wouldn't be shocked at all if he lost and got cut.
Yeah. So I think that we know.
And Parsons, I think, is only like he fought Giles and he might have fought like one other person in the UFC.
Both these guys have fought Evan Elder.
That's right, Evan Elder.
And then Parsons lost to D-Rod, which I think that's a respectable loss.
That's not crazy.
But yeah, I mean, I like this fight. I mean, I think it's a great like fight night card fight. I'm gonna roll with Semmelsberger. Parsons just leaves a little bit too much to be desired.
Yeah, I agree. Next one, Marcus McGee versus Gaston Bolanos. McGee's minus 250.
Okay, McGee inside the distance all day.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I think I would not be shocked if 5 minutes into this fight it finished first round.
I think Bolanos
and McGee looks minus 1,000.
I don't think Bolanos should be in the UFC.
I just think the grappling edge is so big. I think McGee smokes him.
Bolanos is coming off a win against Aaron Phillips, who Aaron Phillips is another guy I feel like should not be in the UFC. No disrespect to those guys. I mean, you guys, like, it's just there's levels, and sometimes it's like an FCS versus an FBS football player. Like there's no disrespect. It's just like I think those guys. Bolanos wasn't even that good in Bellator.
No.
So I'll be big on McGee inside the distance.
Same. For sure.
It's not out yet. I'm sure it'll probably be minus 125, minus 150. But
also,
if he wins this fight, I think he's winning inside the distance.
Yeah. I think he runs. He
goes for it, man. He's like
he's had all finishes so far. I think.
I like him.
He's good. He trains with like Sugar.
I like him.
He trains over there. Next, we got Farid Basharat versus Taylor Lapilus. Basharat's minus 270. Lapilus plus 220. I like Basharat.
I think Basharat's just like
I think he's parlay piece.
Yeah.
Like I think he handles business pretty like solidly. I don't think Lapilus is that good. He fought in I think it was the French card maybe. Yeah. And I remember him he fought another guy who like isn't that good.
The guy who like the French crowd hated Loughran. Like
he just got booked for Atlantic City.
Loughran's he was the perfect heel, but
Loughran just got booked for he beat Loughran, who I don't think either of them are that good to be honest.
Yeah, they're not.
I think Basharat here is a good parlay piece. I think he gets it done.
So Lapilus, like Basharat's just so good at just controlling the distance, not getting hit, and then he'll just like take him down.
Yeah, he's good grappling too.
Good grappler.
He'll stay on top. He's big, like he'll be position over submission, like he'll just hold you down.
So that's why, like, I mean, his decision price, like a lot of people beyond that, I feel like there could be
the over 2.5 rounds in that fight's minus 250.
Yeah. We agree there. Basharat all day. I think he's a parlay piece.
Parlay piece, big time. Next one, huge, biggest favorite of the card. This is crazy. Gene Silva versus Weston Wilson. Weston Wilson out of Wonder Boy's camp, Simpsonville, South Carolina. Good old boy. Gene Silva's minus 950.
I think he's going to be like minus 400 round one.
Probably. Weston Wilson made a last-minute debut. He fought Joe Anderson Brito, I remember.
He had Brito in a...
He kind of like, he did the grappling. He kind of like held on for a second and then ended up getting like viciously ground and pound knocked out. I wouldn't touch this fight. I don't think Weston Wilson's good.
I mean, if you want to go a little crazy... I think
Gene Silva probably murders him, but...
Like, could you, like, see it and, like, get to round two? I mean, like, you could...
Maybe.
Like you never know. So maybe Gene Silva round two.
I remember that's with Weston Wilson. That's kind of what I was praying for. Because Brito's like a big he finishes people early and then he's tailed off late. Like I mean that's how he lost to Algeo.
Yeah,
and that's what I was hoping. I was get him tired. And maybe Weston Wilson can like get some grappling on. And he just got killed.
That was
But
Weston Wilson is just not.
Yeah, I think he gets. I think more likely than not, he gets absolutely crushed here.
This next fight's interesting because this guy's a prospect.
Do you remember Tom Nolan's his fight?
Yeah, on Contenders.
That I know we just talked about a couple like vicious ground. That was the ground and pound knockout that he landed. He like dropped him and then landed one of the most vicious ground and pound shots I've ever seen. The guy, it was like the guy was like kind of defending himself, and then he landed like a huge, just like over, like right hand straight down, and the guy's body just like flipped like this. I was like just lifeless. I was like, Jesus Christ. This guy's got fucking pop in his right hand. Jesus, the Canadian guy.
Yeah,
and Mata's, I mean, shinny. I think this is a big
UFC knows what they're doing.
I didn't even say it. It's Tom Nolan versus Nicholas Mata. Tom Nolan is minus 320. I was like looking at my chops and at Tom Nolan already. Tom Nolan's minus 325. Mata plus 260. Yeah, I think Nolan knocks him out.
Yeah,
they seem to like him as a prospect. He's only like 6-0.
You mean Wilson knocks out Mata?
No, Nolan.
Sorry.
Nolan, yes. No, I think Nolan knocks out Mata. But he's a big favorite, so it's like a weird. I think he's parlayable. I think Mota's not that good.
I'm a little concerned on laying minus 325 on a debuting fighter. I know the good thing is he has fought in the Apex before. I think he should win this. I think he's just like I think more times than not, there's a little like the hype here is like inflating the number a little bit. That being said, I mean, I'm not betting Mota. So if you're taking looking for a parlay, start the card a little bit early. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, he's the guy I'm excited to see. And I agree with Hunter. It's just like Mota can hit hard. This is a minus 320 newcomer. I could see him being a parlay buster.
It's fair. It's fair. I just see Mota and I just see like what he got knocked out bad by Jim Miller early. Got knocked out badly by Manuel, which that elbow he ate was vicious. But I mean that elbow, I mean, he got fucking killed
by Torres.
Just a bang.
I like Torres.
Yeah, he's got booked for the. He just got booked for that Mexico City card. I'm pretty sure.
Chris Duncan.
That's a great fight. Even Duncan's chinny. That might be trouble for him, but I like Chris Duncan a lot. Opening fight of the night, another good fight. Joshua Van versus Felipe Buenas. Joshua Van minus 250. Buenas return plus 205. Okay. I like Van here, but not super opinionated on it. But if you made me like pick the fight just with no odds, just a winner, I'll say Van.
And we saw Van start slow in his last fight against
and then turn it up.
And then he turned it up, and by the end of that fight, I was like, "Oh man, this guy's looking good." He's not American, but he fights out of, I think, Brooklyn.
Does he?
Or yeah.
I like his last fight was very exciting.
Sorry, he's fighting out of Houston, Texas. So I don't know where I got the idea that he is he spends time in Brooklyn.
That's right. He fight Borjas and Zumagulov. He basically retired Zumagulov.
Yeah, he did. Anyways, Van.
All right, Borjas was in a good scrap on the Contender Series.
Yeah. I mean, this guy, he's decent. I mean, I know Buenas does have a decent. I mean, he's kind of a journeyman. I think he's 34. Yep, and this is his first fight in the UFC. He is decent. He's coming from LFA, which is a good organization.
Yeah,
he is decent. I've heard a decent in ground game submission. I think it's possible that he could get Van down and find a sub. I may be taking him by sub, but all things like if I just had to pick a winner for this fight, it would be Van. I don't hate Van. I just think it's a little inflated. But I'm not going to be betting against him. But this is Buenas' first fight in the UFC. He was supposed to.
It's crazy. He's only 2-1 in the LFA. I mean, he's literally. I mean, it depends how you want to cherry pick him. He's 3-1 in his last 4. Then he's also 3-4 3-1 in his last 4. He's also 3-7, 3-4 in his last 7. He literally was on a stretch where he lost 4 or 5 fights.
I'm a little
and then won 2 fights.
The line movement's been a little interesting to me because I feel like Van should be. I've seen love for him on Twitter, and I know that's not the entire betting community, but like I feel like he should be climbing up into that minus 250 range. There's been some buyback on Boone, so I mean, like it gives me like a weird feeling, and I feel like first fight of the year,
yeah,
like parlay buster right away, yeah. Like just some bullshit happens.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's why I said like I'm not betting it probably, but if I'll pick Van just to like give a pick, but not like a gambling pick, just kind of like just pick the fight, but. Yeah, it's a weird because in the 2 guys he did beat in his last 2 fights, they had like decent records, not as good as Van, but like they were like 10. And I think one was like 10-5 or 10, like something like that. 2 of them had like decent records, some wins under their belt. So I like it. Solid return fight night card leading into a pay-per-view next week. It's crazy. The Strickland DDP pay-per-view is literally a week from Saturday.
Yeah, I know.
Toronto. That's kind of that card's taking a hit.
I know.
It's not that pay-per-view card is not strong.
Not strong at all.
When you got like Neil Magny is like the 3rd fight. Like the 3rd fight at the top of the billing. I don't think that's great.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, also they lost a couple too.
Yeah. And isn't Buena Silva like the co-main?
It's for the belt.
Yeah.
It's Strickland DDP. It's Raquel Pennington, and Maria Bueno Silva for the Vegan bantamweight belt. It's Malott versus Magny, which I get you're trying to hype like Malott. This is Malott's big top 15 shot, Canada boy in Toronto. I get that. Then they moved up, which I thought was a great prelim. It's still gonna be a good scrap, so not to deter fans from buying the pay-per-view. It's Barrial versus Chris Curtis.
That's a good fight.
That's now on the pay-per-view, which is like it's one of those weird ones because you hear that in the pay-per-view and you're like, oh, like that's on the pay-per-view.
I know.
And it's like but I also realized it's a great scrap. Like the fight itself should be awesome.
And we have
like action-wise, it should be a great fight. But and then I forget what
is Malott on that card?
I just said Malott Magny.
My bad.
It's Malott, and then it's Curtis on MAB, and then I forget what the opening fight of the main card is. But Charles Jourdain and Woodson. Like Jasmine John Vicious is on the card. They obviously went like I think Landais maybe is on it. I know they went like Canadian heavy. Obviously, it's Canada.
Yeah,
but it should be good. I just think fights back. No, this is a good fight. This is a good sports weekend. We got this NFL playoffs. Shout out everyone tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Are we doing episodes after the? Is it planned to doing? Brad Katona's fighting another Canadian guy, even though he's an Irish accent now.
Yeah.
So the plan to do the postcard.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
So I think the plan. I know Robbie said he could this week. I think our plan is to do kind of what we did for 296 and keep doing that, do it phone as much as we can, at least for the big cards. This one's the fight night cards. We'll do as many as we can, but the plan going forward is to do immediate recaps like Saturday night after the fights for all pay-per-view cards and as many fight night cards as we can, scheduling wise. So if you're watching the card this weekend, UFC Vegas 84 will be live immediately when the fight's over on this channel. Tune in, subscribe,
and we'll talk a lot of the fights that the UFC 300.
Yeah, we'll talk that, all the announcements, and we'll talk obviously the card, everything. Oh, it's Arnold Allen Evlov, the first fight. That's actually a very good fight, great fight there. So appreciate everyone. Dana will be announcing the fights later on. We'll see you after the card on Saturday. God bless.
No, Robbie did not get in a rollerblading accident.
No, Robbie not getting a rollerblading accident. Shout out Hot Billy though. We're in contact with Tim